a young human that has done really great things and just highlight them today just so we can talk to them about their journey and celebrate them because you know what? We have them, and it's very, very good for us to be able to celebrate them because a lot of times we talk as if we don't have them. And I don't like those stories. So we decided at Straight Talk that on Thursdays we're going to dedicate it to our young Caymanians that are out there making waves, making moves, and doing big things. And we're very, very proud of that. So today I have a great guest. And before I bring him on, I just wanted to read something about success as we start the show. So, what is real success? Everybody wants success, and yet they often don't even know when they have it. For most, it is the maddening chase toward a better way of life or more, or more of something, more fame, more power, more recognition, more money, or more material stuff. For some, it's the understanding of a loving partner, the love of their child, or the people that they can count on when life throws them a curve. I'm coming to believe that success is not more material wealth, but peace, happiness, contentment, and love. Most of all, love. Real success is not to be sought after in the outer world, but discovered in your inner world. I'm not condemning the stuff of life. We all want the things that life offers, but we don't need as much as we think we do. Sooner or later, you will discover that real success is to be found in loving relationships with your family, with friends, even strangers, and anyone who crosses your path that can inspire you to do better. It is a kindness shared, support given and received, listening, giving, and caring. These will endure while your car rusts, your toys break, you tire of the temporary gratifications that bring you what you think is real. What matters is people. What lasts is love. What counts are true friends. And if you treasure these, you can count yourself a success. And that was from Tim O'Connor. And that is so true. A lot of times, we really are running very hard trying to achieve things, and that's really great. But it's also good to bring people along with you. That's so important. So, to my guest, though, today I will say this: you did it. You deserve to be credited for defying the opinions and expectations of many of the people around you. When they said that it couldn't be done, you would not hear that. You set your goals on something that only you seemed to see, and you refused to back down until your dream was realized. The course you chose was demanding and difficult. You were in the middle of situations that required both courage and sacrifice and change in order to achieve the greater end and consistency. The scars you've earned are really the marks of a true hero, and I want to let you know how proud I am of you. Seeing you set your goal and gather the courage it took to face the disbelief of others or the adversities that were in your way, to struggle and forge your way to a new horizon has been an inspiration to me and all that have come in contact with you. Your growth has helped many to face their own challenges. Thank you for showing those around you how not to ever let go and how to achieve their dreams. And with that, I will welcome my awesome guest this afternoon, Mr. Lloyd Barker. Good afternoon. Hi, Lloyd.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me, Catherine.
Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Obviously, I've known you a long time.
Yes.
You've grown up right before my eyes, obviously, because I've seen my children grow up with you, and
Yes.
so to think about a show like this that we're doing on Straight Talk on Thursdays, I could not have thought of it any way down the road in any shape or form without saying I gotta have Lloyd Barker on this show. There's no way
Well, thank
not
you.
to. No, absolutely. Lloyd, you have been doing things since you were a young guy. I mean, you're still young, but like a young kid.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I found with you, which I think is very much a secret of success, quote unquote secret that people seem to think, is consistency.
Right. Yes.
That's the key, right? I mean, definitely to consistently push yourself to be better, to do
Absolutely.
better, to learn, to improve, and to continue moving. I always say that on the show. Keep it moving. Just
Right.
keep it moving, regardless of what things are coming your way. So let me introduce you formally, so that my listeners can hear a little bit about your background before we delve into all your business.
Yeah.
Okay, Lloyd Barker is a 2016 graduate of Carleton University in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and the University of Law in Manchester, United Kingdom, completing undergraduate and postgraduate degrees in law, legal studies and communication studies at the distinction level. Lloyd Barker is the founder and executive director of the nonprofit organization Pursuit of Excellence, the Lloyd Barker Foundation, established in 2012, focusing on youth empowerment and social drives for community development. Lloyd has a special passion towards and love for community service, performing arts, cultural activities, athletics, and mentorship engagements. Named Man of the Year in 2014 by the Barbados Consulate in the Cayman Islands, Lloyd runs an online motivational page encouraging more than 80,000 people daily. Lloyd is employed by a leading international law firm in the Cayman Islands as an attorney at law, where he advises on a broad range of corporate and finance matters, including asset finance, banking, bilateral and syndicated lending transactions, subscription line and other fund financing, corporate restructurings, and various other Cayman Islands general corporate matters. And that's kind of your professional bio. I'm sure also included that you are one of the most popular people that has a pile of people behind you and around you, and you also do fun things.
Yes, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. And and you did mention the performing arts. They can also catch you on the latest talent exposition of the arts if you wanted to check that out on YouTube. That was awesome. One in a Million You is one of my favorite
Yes.
songs. But I
I
said,
love that
Lloyd better bring
song.
it tonight.
Oh
From the
my.
time I heard the music, I was like, all right now, Lloyd, don't be signing up for that. But you did great. It was
Thank you.
awesome. Awesome. And I've watched you grow up on the
Yeah.
stage. The thing about you, I think, Lloyd, that's been very unique for me as I've
Yes.
watched you grow up is how kind of versatile you've been. You've not just been an academic, you've consistently been an academic, but you've also been an athlete
Right. Yeah.
as well as an entertainer.
Yeah.
How do you tell me? Come on, tell us a little bit about your story, and then we're gonna just say how are you juggling all of this stuff? Like, when did you
Yeah.
figure out what you really want to do?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you once again for having me on the show, and a special good afternoon to everyone who's tuned in today. It is such a pleasure to be here. And, just in terms of my interests and so forth, one of the biggest things, and I think the most important things in life, and for me, is to be true to myself. And I think that as I've grown up from going from primary school to middle school, high school, and onwards, I've tried to remain true to myself. So, true to myself in terms of my interests, my passions, my desires. And that's what's been able to allow me to really maximize my capacity in so many different avenues because I noticed from I was in middle school that I had interest in performing arts. I had interest in acting and speaking, public speaking, and so forth. And so I thought it's important for me to get myself involved in engagements and activities generally that would help me to develop that art and that would help me to develop that interest. And as I went along and I met people and I was exposed to different experiences, the experiences developed. And so I also noticed, okay, you know what, I have interest in these things and there's other activities. And one of the biggest things as well that I noticed is when I returned from school, never would I have imagined that I would be hosting this event and that event. And that was just not in my mind,
Right.
right? And it wasn't something that I had necessarily planned, but it just worked out perfectly in
Right.
terms of timing and so forth. People weren't really asking me to host events when I had just started university and I was overseas. It wasn't until I was about to return that it's almost like it was known, but it wasn't known that I was going to be returning. It just so happened that I was here and available. So I think ultimately speaking, it's just about being true to myself. And in terms of what I have decided to do as a career, you know, practicing law, I have always wanted to go into legal practice. And from I was about 7 years old, I used to watch like reality TV court sessions. And I was always fascinated by the way judges went about their practice. So they sat, they listened to the cases and facts that are presented to them, and then render a decision, of course, based on the law and so forth, but just rendering a decision. So I kind of liked that overall concept and so forth. And from 7 years old, 8 years old onwards, I was like, you know what? I want to be a judge. And then as I got older and I learned that you actually need to be a
A
lawyer
lawyer first.
first, I
Okay.
was ultimately cultivated in terms of legal practice, and I was thinking about law on a whole. And being such a tender age, like 7, 8, the mind is flexible and so on. And so once I'm interested in law generally, I
Right.
think being a lawyer works as well. And as I got to 13, 14, made it to high school, that was where my mind was. I'm going into law and legal practice. I want to be a lawyer.
Right.
And I wasn't sure at the time how it was going to happen,
Right.
when it was going to happen,
Right.
if it was going to happen.
Right.
But I was like, this is what I want. And I'm going to do the steps. I'm going to take the steps that are necessary in order for me to make it happen. Of course, with the help and support of many others that I'll eventually talk
All
about.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Because yeah, we got some time to talk here, so we don't want to get it all at once.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, when you just said you were watching the shows, I have a friend who's a lawyer, and in
Yeah.
fact, when I graduated with my associates, which was a long time ago, she and I
Right.
did an associates program together. She's an American,
Right.
and she was going on to law school after we did the bachelor's, and somewhere along the line I already had my kids, so I was a single mom very early, and
Yeah.
I needed to get to work and feed them poor little children. There
Yeah.
had been
Right.
they had been sacrificing long enough, and she was single with no kids, so she went on to law school,
Yeah.
and she's a lawyer now, she's a prosecutor, and she loves it. And I'd always talk about law and order and the practice, and she's like, they're
Yes.
nothing like the courtroom.
Yeah.
So tell me, which ones which ones of those shows are like the courtroom, like the real life courtroom?
Honestly, I think it's really difficult to pin one down because these shows are produced and there are certain things that are made for the commercial market and for
Right,
viewers and so forth. So you're probably not seeing 100% what really happens.
right, right.
But for the most part, when you do a mashup, it gives you a good idea
Oh,
as to
right.
what you can expect. But
Okay.
nothing is like what's in reality,
Right,
right? And
right.
what's actually done, not for show, not for views, not for commercial reasons.
Yeah,
So just a mashup of everything,
yeah.
right? You get a little bit of everything from the various
Of
shows.
course.
Yeah.
So for sure, what I heard with what you were saying just a little while ago
Yeah.
was that your eyes are kind of set on being a judge at some point. That's what I heard. And let me tell you, if I heard that from Lloyd Barker, I know it's going to happen. So I don't know if that's still the thing on your brain, but just thinking about the road is what I
Yes.
heard,
Yes.
that this is what I wanted, but then you realize, okay, the road that I have to take actually is this road, and it leads you there, but
Right.
there's so many things along the way that you also gather.
Right. Absolutely.
And I love that.
Yeah. And for me, the idea is really just to take life as it comes. I'm certainly not closed off to the idea of being on the bench one day. That would
Yeah.
be amazing if ever such an opportunity and a prestigious honor was actually
Right.
presented to me.
Right.
But I am in a place where I am grateful for where I am and I'm really just taking it a day at a time
Right.
and just seeing what God has in store for me because some of the things that have actually come to my front door, I didn't imagine that they would.
Right.
And so I just want to have an open mind and take it one day at a time,
Yeah.
stay present in the moment. And I think that's one of the ways that I've been able to really make it through,
Yeah.
not focusing on what's to come in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Because, for example, finding myself on the bench could take as much as, say, 20, 30
Right.
years.
Right.
And I think that for sometimes you have people where they focus on what's to come as
Right.
opposed to what is now,
Right.
and they lose sight of the treasures that are currently sitting in front of them,
Right.
and they don't collect those treasures along this journey.
Right.
So I'm not closed off to the idea of being on a bench, but I'm just so focused on practicing law, being a newly qualified attorney, just basking in all of it and just trying to learn lots. And then if it happens, amazing. And if not, I'm sure it's something else that's great that God has in store for me.
That's great. I mean, that was just, I feel like that was just a nugget just dropped. I always talk about my Tyson nuggets, just dropping. That was a great nugget
Yeah.
because you're right. A lot of times people are focused on what they're going to get, what they're going to get,
Yes.
when I get that, when I get that. And on the other side, people are focused on what happened,
Yes.
filled either with regret or just, I can't wait until this happens. And so they miss what's happening right now. So
Exactly.
that's just lovely. You're absolutely right. And I think that whatever comes, like you said, will be amazing, but what's happening right now is also amazing.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah,
that's one of the guidance that I provide to anyone who would ask, like, how did you make it through university for 7 years? That's a long time, and so on. And I just say that the focus was always on the now. Like,
right,
yes, the goal was to eventually return, train, and qualify as a lawyer and all that good stuff. But the focus was really on what's happening right now.
right,
How are the grades looking right now?
right.
Right? Because I have to pass those hurdles first
To get
before I can get
anywhere.
to that ultimate goal that I wanted.
Right.
And so once I was able to focus on that, I was essentially collecting treasures along the way.
One class at a
Went,
time.
yeah, exactly. One class at a time, one exam at a time, one semester at a time, and
That's
one
right.
school year at a time.
That's right.
I come back in the summertime, I unwind a bit, have a little internship, enjoy myself because it's about to be time to get right back into the
That's
work,
right.
right? And so then we deal with year two, year three, year four, and so on. So along the way, it's not just about going to university, going to the classes and taking exams. It's also
No.
about what are you acquiring along the way.
Right.
And it's not just academic knowledge, but if you're traveling, being away and experiencing different cultures and really just basking in your environments,
Right.
those things are important.
Yeah.
Overall, it's important to be present.
Right. Like how you living? Like how are you
Yeah,
living?
yeah,
Are you remembering to live? Are you remembering
exactly,
to breathe
exactly,
and savor it all? I was talking to
exactly.
a young man yesterday and he mentioned that he wanted to be a pilot. And I think he's 20 or 20, maybe 20. He's not
Right,
just turned 20. And he
right,
said he wants to be a pilot.
right,
And I said, okay, well, that's great. I mean, like, so what are you doing towards that goal? And he said, well, I didn't do really great in school, but
right.
I found a flight school that you can get in it from the basics or something like that. And I was like,
Mhm.
all right, so you found that? He said, yeah, so it is not going to require like all of these passes. I think they make you take an exam and they
Right,
bring you to a certain level
right,
academically before you're able to get into the program. And the program is 1 year. And
right.
I said, all right, so here's the thing: you've already done some of the hard stuff. You've
Yes.
actually thought enough about it that you went and you've been looking for a program, you found a program that actually might help you achieve a goal that you're serious about. That is an indication that you're serious about something. So he said, yeah, but I think about how much money it's going to take and how long. I said, don't worry about that.
Yep.
Don't worry about that. You've already done the hard part. We're gonna find some money. Like there are people that
Yes.
you're talking to me right now, that are gonna help you line up that money. That's the last thing you worry about, because it's really about that one semester at a time, one class at a time. Get over
Absolutely.
those hurdles. And and then we talked about time, and I said, think about, you're 20 years old. In 5 years, you could be a pilot. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be
Yes.
amazing if we had this conversation in 5 years and you're a pilot? But let me tell you about the conversation that we could have in 5 years. We could have a conversation in 5 years where you did not pursue it. We're 5 years past anyway, and you're sitting there saying, yeah, I really wanted to be a
Yeah,
pilot.
I
So
wish I
wouldn't it
did.
be better to start putting all that work in now, so that in five
Right.
years, the conversation that we have is a very different conversation? And that's
Exactly.
what you just said, basically,
Yes.
that kind of reminded me that time goes.
Yep.
So why not, understand what you want, pursue it, put your all into it, and just take it one day at a time,
Right.
one step at a time. Because I always tell people this: I'm a single mother, and I know you come from a single mom home
Yep.
too, right? I'm familiar with that.
Yes.
And I say, I never had an idea where any money was going to come from. All I knew, money was coming.
Yeah.
We were going to get lined up for it, and somehow it was
That
going to
was
find us.
gonna,
And
yep.
it did. And it found three kids to, help be educated at university levels, and with
Amazing.
a single mother. So
Amazing.
never worry about that. And so I
Hmm.
really like what you said, to kind of take it one step at a time, that just
Yeah.
always keep moving. And another thing that you said that was interesting is that you didn't know people would come to you to host and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's just how it
Mm.
works.
Yeah.
As you continue to build yourself, as you continue to expand, people find you, opportunities find you.
Yes.
You
Exactly.
don't even have to look for them anymore. They're on your doorstep when you
Yeah.
open your door. And
Yeah.
those are blessings. The
Exactly.
universe kind of rewarding you for all the things that you're putting out into it.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's something that I saw almost immediately after returning. And it really showed me the importance in developing yourself in every and any way that you can,
Absolutely.
because you never know when you'll need to draw on a particular talent,
That's
to
right.
draw on a particular art. So if it is something that you have the ability and you have the time to cultivate, to nurture, to develop, go ahead and do that, because talent, gifts are never wasted.
Right.
And that's what that showed me. Because when I'd return, I would do small things on the side for the summertime and then head off back to school. I'll come back and do the same thing again. And then when it was time for me to be here full time, to start working and really focus on my career, there were things that were a bit more serious, a bit more advanced, that required a bit more of me, that had I not been doing certain engagements from before, I probably wouldn't know where to start. And to be fair, I probably wouldn't even have had the requests for
Right.
me to be in such a position,
Right.
right?
Right.
The opportunities wouldn't avail themselves.
Right.
So it really just shows that it's so important for us never to forget our talents, our crafts, and to develop them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. One thing I can say too, that I believe is in your favor, is
yeah,
that you have always been so humble. You have always been so just y- grateful. Like,
yeah.
you know, I always feel, and there's a light that I
Yeah.
get from you. Like
Thank
there's
you.
there's a bright light around you.
Yeah.
I've never felt in your presence anything negative. It's always been this very positive energy, and very just well mannered, just a
Yeah.
respectful person with manners, and appreciate other people and respect other people. And to me, that, like the old people used to say, manners and respect will get you farther than money or education will ever get you. And that is so true.
That's true.
And I believe that that is something, and that's obviously, you know, a testament to your mom and to
Yeah.
the people in your community, the
Yeah.
tribe that kind of raised you
Yes,
and brought you up.
absolutely.
Because yeah, I mean, you were in arenas. I think you and I
Yes.
hosted the talent
Talent
exposition
acquisition.
arts before, together, and and we were just like literally put together at that evening. And I was like, hey, I don't like doing that. I want to know how me and this person are going to gel.
Right,
And you did
right.
fine. You were very respectful. I like that. And
Yeah.
I think you did something for Radio Cayman at some point.
Yeah, so
So there's
I did
always a
a
lot of
couple
different
stints.
things.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and that was fun for me. That was also development, because when I came back for two different summers, I was doing basically a internship. So I was reporting news and producing and all that stuff, and that was really fun. But it taught
Yeah.
me so much, in terms of public speaking. It's helpful for that, and also just the networking. I was able to go out for the Jamaican Independence, I guess when they do their outside broadcasting, interviewing, and so forth. Radio Cayman was there,
Right.
and I was able to be engaged, right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
all of those things just help towards a bigger picture.
Yeah. And you know what's beautiful too? I think you mentioned Jamaican independence, and
Yes.
your mom is Jamaican.
Yes,
Yeah.
so my mom is Jamaican. I was born in Jamaica, and I came here when I was about 7, and I know my mom is listening, so I just want to say a special shout out to my mother, Antoinette Powery. And if you know me well, or sometimes even if you don't know me well, you know the love and the relationship my mom and I share. She has been my biggest supporter. She's been there every step of the way. And let me tell you, there is nothing that I've ever said to my mother that, okay, I'd like to do, I'd like to try out, that she's not been supportive, that she's not showed up. She's always been present.
Yeah.
And she's amazing. Up to
Yeah.
this day, right now,
Yeah.
if there's something that I really need in terms of, I can't figure out how to make this happen or that happen. My mother's jumping on board and she's helping me figure it all out,
Yeah.
right? So I'm still her baby in her eyes. If she was right here, she'd be
That's
saying,
true.
"Yep, he's my baby. All when he's 100, my baby."
Y'all are for us forever. Trust me, Antoinette.
Yes.
I understand because I'm somebody's mom. I'm the mother of three people, and trust me,
Yes.
you know it's funny because some days they take turns, and some days it's all three, and they're grown. they're living their lives, very proud of them. But yeah, you guys are for us forever.
Yes,
And you're
yes.
so right. Your mom has always been in every corner of every
Every
room that you've ever been in, and that I remembered. So I think anyone who actually knows you
yeah.
knows that about you.
Exactly. And my mother, she knows a lot of people on her own, just independently. But sometimes I don't think she realizes. Sometimes I have to remind her, I look like a bunch of people actually know you as my mother
That's
because
right.
I show her off all the time. I
Absolutely.
let people know because I'm proud of her. She's proud of
She's
me.
gorgeous too, by
And
the way.
and even when I had qualified in the court, the judge had mentioned when she was walking out, we were speaking after my ceremony, and he had mentioned that he has no idea how she is walking through the door right now with a smile that big.
Right.
Like, how is she fitting through the door? She was just so proud, just beaming. You know what? My qualification as an attorney at law was a lot to do with her,
Right.
right? Always believing in me, always supportive. And that's what you need, because you need to have people around you who are supportive and who have faith in your ability and faith in who you are.
Right.
And my friends know that my mother didn't play.
Right.
All right. So growing up,
That's a part of the deal.
she ain't play. And you know as well.
That's a part of the deal.
Y'all don't play.
No,
Right?
we can't play. We got people
But
to raise. We
yeah,
got, we
exactly.
got to present y'all to society. We not
Exactly,
playing.
exactly. And then it bodes so well, and I'm super grateful for her and for everybody else who have been supportive.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I say that, just in just celebration of being a single mother and the
Yeah.
stuff that people that that don't know this journey would not even
Yeah.
understand the the level of weight that's on a single mother's
Right.
shoulders,
Yes.
and having to ensure that you're not only taking care of yourself, but you're taking care of these other people or this other
Yes.
person. And so your brain is no longer just thinking about yourself anymore. Your brain is
Yes.
engaged as to how I'm going to ensure that this person is able to carve out the life that they want and they can live a happy, successful life. And so sometimes a downfall with parents that kind of drop the ball somehow and their children are not successful, and they are regretful of that.
Right.
They kind of miss that whole thing where, listen, you have people to present to society, so whether they like it or not,
Yep.
and whether you tired or not, get up and go find out where they are, go
Yes.
find out who they're hanging with, go find out what they're doing, like be in their business.
Yep.
And that's it. And I think that, this is what these are the results. These are the
Yes.
results.
Yes.
And I always say, because I'm a social worker by profession, I always say that the families that I've worked with, I didn't love my children any more than they loved theirs. Antoinette didn't love you any more than they loved theirs. But understanding what some elements of love requires
Yes.
is
Absolutely.
really the that that defining thing
Yes.
that allows you to put your foot down and say, no, no, I can't play with that.
Yep.
I can't play with that, because if I do that, I'm now going to be not helping you set up the life that you want. And
Right.
so we're going to just be crying together,
Yes.
sad tears. I want to be crying happy tears,
Yes, exactly,
you know?
exactly. And I remember my court gear was at home, and my mother always, before I qualified, she would go and she'd look at it. She was just so happy, and it was very refreshing for me to experience, because sometimes you forget, or you can't really put into words how proud you are.
Right.
But when you see certain things, and it's like, wow, it's just
Yeah.
so refreshing. And I also have to say a special thank you to my stepfather, who has been there with me and for me, Omar Powery, as well. He's been there, father figure, and up to this day, same thing. If ever I need anything, I can call on him.
Good stuff.
So that's all very important.
It absolutely takes a village. We're going to come back and
Absolutely.
chat more about that.
Yes.
And remind me of a funny story I have to tell you about my mom. I'm going to forget, but just remind me. We'll be
All right.
back with more. You are listening to Straight Talk, your Drive at 5 show. And this is Thursday Success 101. And my guest, Lloyd Barker, and I are here in the studio talking about his journey and the journey of this successful young Caymanian. You don't want to miss it. So please stay tuned. We'll be back with more. and welcome back to Straight Talk. This is your Drive at 5 show, and I'm your host, Catherine Tyson. And I'm in the studio with Mr. Lloyd Barker, and we're sharing his story with you this afternoon for our Thursday Success 101 show. And Lloyd is a LLM, right? Is that what it is? Tell us about your degrees. That's the joke. I remembered it. My mom said when I had graduated a very long time ago, because I got a mom too. Us old people, we got mothers too. And and I remember when I first came home, this was like 20 years ago, and she said, Cat, please tell me what your degrees are because I'm bragging about you and I don't know the right words to say. Like I need it so I can know what I'm bragging about. And it was just
Oh
very
my
funny.
goodness.
So that's kind of funny that, we need to know what we're bragging about. So
Yeah,
tell us
exactly.
what we're bragging about,
All right.
Lloyd.
So we're bragging about. So I completed a bachelor's of arts honors in law with a concentration in business law and a minor in communication studies in Canada. So I graduated from Carleton University in 2016. And then I went on over to the UK where I did an postgraduate diploma in law. And that's a conversion course, basically converting my BA into a qualifying law degree. So I had to do the
Okay.
requisite courses in order to be as though I have a qualifying law degree.
Okay.
And in my final year, so this was technically my sixth year overseas, I did a postgraduate diploma in professional legal practice with a master's of law in professional legal practice and graduated from that course with a distinction. And prior to going overseas to do all of that, I actually did a year at UCCI where I started out in the Associates of Economics program and did all my core college courses and then transferred over to Carleton and went on from there.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
So you decided to leave from here to go to Canada.
Yes.
And so why Canada?
Well, I have family in Canada. My
Okay.
father is in Canada, so shout out
Okay.
to my
Okay,
father who I think
good.
might be listening, Mr. Lloyd
Okay.
Barker.
All
Yes.
right. Oh, so you're a
So I'm a
junior,
junior.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I went to visit my dad and the rest of the family, and I was told about a number of universities, Carleton being one of them. And I did some research. I knew I wanted to do business law of some sort, so some kind of law associated with business. And I'll tell you the reason that even really came up for me. And I also knew about my interest in communication studies, so I wanted to be able to merge the two, some kind of major minor or something of the sort. So then I found Carleton University, I found their programs and what they had available, and I thought this was perfect. I'm doing a major in law, a concentration in business law, and a minor in communication studies. I don't think it gets much better than that based on
Okay.
my desires and my interests.
Right.
And so that's the reason I went from there. And then in order to qualify and practice law here in Cayman, I thought that the best route for me was to go to the UK.
Wow. Okay.
And so the reason business law is interesting was actually, I think my involvement and experience with junior achievement had a lot to do with that. Because if you're familiar with junior achievement, you know it's about building creating businesses, and just really helping young people to get into that entrepreneurial mind or just to have that general business sense and business understanding from the high school level.
Right.
And I was so grateful to have been involved in junior achievement for 3 years. And I was able to experience a role of being VP of marketing for 2 years and in the final year of being the president. And it really taught a lot about leadership, a lot about business, and just what happens in the business fair. And I think overall it worked well for me because everything just kind of comes together. You have your interest in law, and then you are thrown into certain types of experiences and you venture into junior achievement where you're getting business knowledge and understanding how companies and partnerships and so forth operate. And then business law because of that interest, right? So I have to say hats off to junior achievement for the program and all of what it stands for. I've had an amazing 3 years, and even afterwards I've also been involved in organizations and organizational development and mentoring efforts, and I feel should definitely be supportive of such an initiative for young people because it really starts from that age. And for me, it definitely started from then.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. As you were talking, I was just thinking about this book that I had read. It's called Vernon Can Read. Have you ever
Right.
heard of
Okay. No,
that?
I've not heard of
Okay,
that
it's a very
one.
interesting book,
Right.
and so I'll tell you how the title came about.
Yeah.
Vernon, I think it's Jackson. I'm not exactly sure right now. It could be Johnson. But he's actually a lawyer as well, and he was a civil rights leader. He
Right.
marched with Dr. King, and he said he was going to law school. There was a time like in the 60s when black people weren't really, it was a novelty thing to be
Right.
going to college, and he was driving for I guess a white man that kind of owned all of these property and stuff like that.
Right.
And so he was his driver. And every time the man would want him to pull off the side of the road and he'd take a nap for an hour. So when he did that, he'd be studying. He'd, his that's how
Right.
getting through law school. And so one day the man woke up and he said, "What are you doing, boy?" And he said, "Oh, I'm reading." He goes, "You can read?" Said, "Yes, he can read." And so after that, when he introduced him, he said, "This is my driver, Vernon. You know, Vernon can read."
Oh my goodness.
And so it's funny, and so he talks about his mom a lot,
Right.
and some of the things that she saw. Um, she heard of ROTC. She put him in ROTC. She heard of junior achievement. She put him in junior achievement. She heard of the. She just kept putting him in stuff. It's like, Mom, you don't even know what these things are doing. So listen, the white people are putting their kids in those things. You're going in those things. Ain't
Right.
nothing bad about those things.
Right.
You're going to get involved. And as you were talking about that, I just thought all of these opportunities that sometimes, we're not realizing that these are things that are helping to shape our young people,
Yes.
and they should be made
Absolutely.
available. But parents should also be seeking them out to
Right.
get young people involved, because the discipline, the
Mm.
exposure, the just even networking, understanding what networking means, and
Yes.
being able to travel, and you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
what an amazing, amazing opportunity. And you're right, businesses should definitely support these types of initiatives.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said discipline, and it hit me in a different way because I think with all of this, you can engage yourself in all kinds of activities and try out this and try out that. And as we spoke about consistency earlier, you also need to have discipline. There'll
Absolutely.
be times that you don't want to go to this because you're tired.
That's right.
There'll be times you don't want to wake up early in the morning to go and get this done because you just want to stay in bed a little longer.
That's right.
But when you have discipline and you recognize that you have certain goals to achieve,
Get up.
you are going to get up.
Get
You
up.
know what I mean? Even up
Yeah.
to this morning, I
Yeah.
was in the gym this morning
Yeah.
having to do cardio.
Yeah.
I would have preferred to stay in bed an extra
Yeah.
hour,
Right. But
but
you
I
want the
got goals.
results.
Exactly.
You want the
And I
results.
always joke with people and I say, well, if you want good body, I have to go get good body. I have to go work for the,
Right. It's not just going to come find you.
exactly. So you
That
got to
cake
put
is
in
going
the
to
work.
find you.
Right?
Donuts.
Facts. Facts. Somebody's gonna come home. You want cake?
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna come home. You want cookies?
That's
I have
right.
this. I brought this.
That's
So you
right.
have to put in the work and you have to be disciplined. There'll be a lot of trials along the way, a lot of challenges along the way. But if you don't decide that you're gonna get up and get going, then the work is not gonna be completed on its own. And I think all
Absolutely.
of these activities, these engagements and initiatives really do teach that.
Yeah.
And that discipline was one of the things I took from track and field, for
Yeah.
example, from just being in track from high school and just coach, just being there. Coach Tyrone Yen was my coach. And when I'm tired, I'm busted,
Yeah.
I need to go home. But oh, next set.
One more.
Exactly.
That's
And
right.
it teaches you, it builds you. And now when I'm in the gym, when I'm tired, I'm busted.
Yeah.
I said, Lloyd, you got one more.
Yeah.
Or it could be two more, you got two more.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll still pump out a little extra rep just for good measure, good
Yeah.
order, you
Yeah.
know?
I had a
Yeah.
European friend say, "Sleep is for the dead."
Right?
And I'm alive. I'm not sleeping. I'm going to squeeze this
I'm
thing
working.
out. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very interesting. But in the word discipline, you're absolutely right. I say a lot of times about university too, like
Yes.
me, my kind of matriculation of university, everything was with me being a mother. So I had two first, and then I had three. So all of my university was with little children strapped to my back and dragging them along with me.
Right.
And so my kids never had an excuse because I said, if I can do it,
You could do
what's
it.
your excuse?
Yeah,
Get up, let's go.
absolutely.
What I found, and I'll say this to anyone, is that university or studying something or achieving something is about the discipline. It's not about anything else. Like there are really brilliant people that have never gone to university,
Absolutely.
and there are people that are average that have gone to university.
Yep.
I had a best friend in high school. She was a straight A student. She was brilliant. She's never gone to university. And I always say, how are we in a world where I have a master's and you never went to university? You're so much smarter than I am in any way, shape, or form when it
Yeah.
comes to books. And but she was just tired. She says, I don't want to go to university. I don't want to study anymore. That's not what I want to do.
Right.
And she has an amazing life, which is great.
Yes.
But discipline is so important, and it is in everything. It is that moment when you want to give up, that moment when you could be doing something easier. Easier is not necessarily better. And
Right.
so you got to push yourself to achieve those goals. And
Right.
that's what you represent. And I really appreciate you coming on today. And I hope that you're doing stuff for the young people, that they can hear your voice, they can hear voices like yours. Um, Years ago they used to have a program in John Gray, like a mentorship program.
Right.
They don't have that one anymore. They have the one that's kind of associated with the chamber, and for like high achieving students. And I
Right.
always say we need to get back to the one to providing for the students that are not necessarily the set ones, or the ones who have that structure in place in their
Yes.
homes, that they're going to be all right either way,
Right.
but to find a way to still provide something for the young people that need to hear these stories. They need to feel these stories. They need to
Yes.
see it in your eyes and say, I can do this too.
Yes.
Yes, you absolutely can. So that I think is an opportunity for us. And here's 2021 that, we need to start looking at, what can we do, right?
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
need they need to see you. They need to see
Yeah.
people like yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I
Yes.
mean, I'm grateful to have had a lot of opportunities over the years and have also made opportunities to go into schools. And I've been able to speak to students and students who are going down the vocational route and really just speak to them about even those who are wanting to go into the professional world, and just teaching them about work and what's expected in the workplace. And so I'm really grateful to have been able to go into the schools over the years, and that's something that I endeavor to continue. And also with my organization, I do plan to have a mentorship arm in the organization where we have other young people and other people generally who will
Yeah.
be mentoring these students. And so I am acknowledging the fact that, I can't go out and speak to everybody.
Right.
And so with so many other successful young people around, I
Right.
know that we can have a village to
Right.
help to encourage and motivate these students who are coming up right now, because
Right.
that's truly important. And whenever I do speak to students, one of the things I say is that I know that you're probably like, oh, over having someone coming in here and speaking to you.
Right.
You have your teachers here all the time, but I remind them or let them know that I too was very much in their seat, and I
Right.
know exactly what they're feeling right now.
Right.
But just take a moment to just take in what I'm saying and take it on board, right? So just really try and get down to their level in terms of where they are in school at that point. So whether it's grade 7, grade 8, whatever, and just speak to them and let them know, I get you.
Right.
All right. We're on
Right.
the same page. I was just
Absolutely.
there 2 minutes ago.
Yep.
Hopefully,
Exactly.
hopefully in 10 years I can still say the same. I was just there 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. Because
But I
you'll,
think as
yeah,
I continue to speak to them, it makes me realize, like over the years, like I'm almost still there with them.
that's
So
right.
even though I've developed a lot, I'm still there. I still remember because every year I'm engaging with the students, and it's almost like the students are developing before my eyes and so forth. So,
Right.
it's a
Right.
wonderful, and I endeavor to continue.
Yeah. Well, I bring my son Richard. He's he's
Yeah.
he's he's my middle child,
Yes.
and he has a master's degree in what is it? I got to figure out what to brag about.
What you bragging
Environmental
about?
engineering. The
Yeah.
project manager. Listen,
Yeah.
I know he tells me, right? He's at DH. and his degrees were in earth science and geology and hydrogeology and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So he's definitely an environmentalist, and I'll bring him out to speak with young people in the program that I teach. And
Right.
his effect on them is so different than mine because
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm a woman. I'm a mother of this 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 man,
Right.
and they'll hear him and they'll be like, "Oh, so how'd you do that?" And, "Oh, where did you go? You traveled to Peru. Oh, how did you do that?" He's like, "Listen, my ticket was $300. I went online," and they will hear that different than the story. I could have just told them the same story,
Yes.
and it did not hit the
Yeah.
way that his story told. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like the young men, you young
Yeah.
men, you all
Absolutely.
are just absolutely, you have that position that you're able to inspire in a different way. And just like when someone told you something and your mother's like, I've been telling you that,
Right.
but you
Yeah.
heard it different,
Yes.
that's it. So
Yeah.
for sure, the stories that we really want to highlight are to show that we have our young Caymanians in the tapestry of our home,
Yeah.
right? Of our home island.
Yeah.
And we have you guys, and you've gone abroad and you've come back with this world knowledge and this richness that you're able to now contribute. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I want this place to be left in good hands, right?
Right.
And that's the way that we're going to do it. And we have to continue to inspire the ones that are coming behind us. Now,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about I think, did I see you as proud of them? Like, were you? I saw you on a
Yes.
billboard.
Yes. Yes.
That was a long time ago. When was
Yeah.
that? I
So
know these are things you don't even remember anymore.
so I think I was on a billboard in 2014.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. Then that was a proud of them thing. That was like a nomination also.
Yeah,
They're
so
still
that
doing it.
yeah, so they're still doing it. They actually just put up the new billboards last week, I believe. So they've had a ceremony for the new awardees,
Okay.
which is amazing. And as I'm driving through the island, I'm like noticing the new faces and
Right.
whatnot. And
Right.
especially on my journey to work, there's this one particular board that I always notice just because of how it's positioned. Funny enough, that was the very one I was
Oh,
on at the
wow.
time.
Okay.
And
No coincidence.
no coincidence. And so on my way to work, I always recognize that it's just right there. And anyway, I was on the billboard in 2014 for my academic excellence, and I was, basically given the honor of going in, doing an interview, and so forth, and also was brought to the governor's house with the other awardees, and just the usual kind of honor that they present to the awardees.
Right.
And that also is really encouraging, and it's something that I think should continue. And I'm happy to see that after all of these years, the young people are still getting the recognition that they ought to receive, because sometimes we don't know how much effort and how much energy are actually required in order to continue and in order to be
Absolutely.
consistent, and you don't know who is on the brink of deciding, you know what, I can't do this anymore.
That's right.
And so whenever you are recognizing excellence and giving them that encouragement, it motivates you to continue. And so it's really, really nice to see. And I'm ever grateful for all of the honors that I've gotten over the years, whether it be through scholarships or the Proud of Them Billboard award that I've received. All of those things I'm really grateful for because it makes a difference.
And it was that same year that you were named Man of the Year. So how
Yes.
did that come about?
Yeah, so for Man of the Year, I was nominated, I believe it was by Junior Achievement actually, and there was that nomination process. And then I found out about the nomination and saw all of the other nominees and thought, look,
No way.
I'm 21. Ain't no way I'm about to be man of the
Wow.
year
Wow.
with other excellent young men of the Cayman community, or excellent men generally of the Cayman community, from teachers to just various people in the Cayman society who have done amazing things. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm 21. They're recognizing me, but obviously they're probably going to take the view that, okay, one day you'll get the award, but not yet, young man. You're 21 years old. You have more time to develop and grow. And to my great surprise, I wasn't on island, unfortunately, but my mother did attend the ceremony. And to my surprise, I was actually named Man of the Year by the Barbados Consulate in 2014. I was honestly very surprised. I know that I've done a lot of things over the years and really just kind of followed my passion and my interest. That's all it's been. I've been interested in community. I've done things to assist in the community and all of those things. Never did I think, oh, well, maybe I'll get an award for it one day. And so, especially at 21 years old, I really did not expect that. And the funny story behind that was when my mother messaged me and she told me that I'm man of the year. I was like, oh, nice. Like, I was happy, but I thought it was me and the other, like some others, so
Right.
that there were a number of men who were deemed like men
Okay.
of the year.
Could have just been you, right?
It couldn't have just been me. So it's so funny because when
Funny.
she said it, I was in Canada and I was at a spoken word event and I was about to perform and everything. So that was like a great high for me before I went on the stage.
Right, right.
And when she said that, I was like, oh, great. And it wasn't until the next
That
morning
you
when I was
realized what
on
it was.
Facebook
Uh-huh.
and I noticed that there's someone who came second
Right.
and someone who came third. And I
Okay.
was like, wait,
So that was
so
me?
I came first? And
That is
that's when I noticed
something.
the following morning. That just goes to show how surprising it was for me
Yeah.
and the fact that that's just not what's on my mind.
Right.
And it's amazing. And I mean, I'm forever indebted to the Barbados Consulate for such a prestigious award because
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It's a big deal.
I'm a
It's
friend
pretty
of my big deal.
important. Exactly. Because they had heard about Lloyd Barker.
Oh,
it can't be too many people that are Lloyd Barker.
oh my
Trust me.
goodness.
When you have the talents, really, and I talk about this a lot to young people that are so multi-talented. Like, listen,
Yeah,
you know, uh, you're just blessed. You're
yeah.
gifted with all of these things, and you cannot let them go to waste. You
Yes,
cannot.
absolutely.
And I'm hearing you talk, and I'm saying, yeah, 21. So I hope um, if you don't ever get another one, don't even feel bad
Right.
because you knocked a lot of people out at 21.
Right.
So just chill.
All right, all right, all right, all right. I'll remember the award in
E-
2014.
exactly, because that's huge. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And I think, like, when I hear you talking, I just think about, how much people can achieve and never really even expect it, never work for that. Just they're
yes,
just living. They're just doing their best. They're just achieving. They're just living that rich life.
right.
And these are kind of like almost like the rewards of it, the spoils of it,
Yes,
but it's not
yes.
like that's what I'm seeking.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah,
you know what? It just goes hand in hand with what I was saying earlier about not focusing on tomorrow in terms of what you're going to achieve tomorrow or 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. It's so important for us to be just focused on right now
yeah,
and what you can do right now. And also just maximizing your capacity because once you've done your best, you can't feel any sort of regret because you've done your best.
absolutely.
And that's all you can do.
That's
Show
it.
up, perform at your highest
That's right.
capacity, and just take it from there.
That's right.
And the rewards will follow.
That's right.
Whether it's academics, whether it's on the job, it doesn't matter. If it's in the gym, anything at all, because we are a diverse set of people in the world, and
Yeah,
you have different people who are interested in different things. And so it's not necessarily that, oh, you're going to be amazing at academics or you're going to be amazing at sports, but whatever it is that you are good at, just get out there and maximize your capacity and just
yeah,
just win yourself,
yeah.
right? It's a competition with you, right? How much is your best and go for it and get it
Right.
done.
Absolutely. Are you
Yeah.
an only child, or
So
just for your mom?
just for my mom.
Okay.
Yes, just for my
All
mom. So
right.
I have siblings on my father's
Yeah.
side, and I was actually just speaking to my brother this afternoon,
Okay.
Ty. And so yeah, I have siblings on my father's side, and we're quite cool. When I was in Canada, it was great because we were able to
Good.
bond and all that good
That's
stuff.
good.
Yeah,
That's
hopefully
good.
they'll come and visit soon, and I'll be able to introduce them to my friends and
Show
so
them how
forth.
you
But
living.
yeah, show them how we living
Show
over
them
here.
your
Because now
spot.
I see how they living. No, they
Right?
need to come find out how we living
Yeah.
over
Show
here.
them your spot.
The Cayman paradise,
That's
Cayman
right.
kind.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want us all to win. That's it. I
Yes,
want us all to win. We all can
absolutely.
win. We all can, bail water together. We all can spruce each other up. We all can encourage each other, motivate each other. And that's what you did today by coming on
Yes.
to this show. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Lloyd Barker, for sharing your story, for sharing your gifts with this world, with Cayman, representing us in such a stellar way. Because I know wherever you are, we can be proud of you, whether that is in Canada, whether that is in the UK, whether that's in West Bay, Georgetown, wherever, we can be proud of you because of how you represent yourself. And we really,
Thank
really,
you.
really want to tell you that, from the bottom of our hearts here at Straight Talk,
Yes.
thank you for coming on and sharing your story. It is stories like yours that continue to inspire and motivate our young people to do better, and to be all that they can be.
Yes, thank you so much, Catherine. And it has been nothing short of a pleasure to be on the show this afternoon. And to everyone who has tuned in, I also want to say a special thank you. And I also do want to give us a quick nugget to everyone who's listening that for anything that you're going after, any goal that you're trying to achieve, one of the biggest and overarching thoughts and lessons from our talk this afternoon, Catherine, is the idea that you should focus on right now. Don't be bogged down with how you're going to get it done tomorrow, with how you're going to get it done next year, with what you're going to achieve in 5 years. Focus on what you can achieve right now. Maximize your capacity and don't get so lost in the journey that you forget the treasures that you're collecting along the way. Don't get so lost in that end goal. There are treasures that you can collect right now. So get out there, collect them because they're going to add to your big treasure chest that's waiting for you at the end of the road. So, all the best to everybody. You too can win. All it takes is that continued perseverance, that consistency, that discipline, that passion. Believe in yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And that was also to your 80,000 followers. Where did you get them from? How did
just
that happen?
just through love for encouraging people and just being consistent, and people know that when they come on the page that there's new content that they can read, they can watch, right? And so they can get that encouragement from the page. And I love doing that because when I get certain messages from people, it's just so refreshing and so overwhelmingly positive. And it really shows the difference that these things make. And
Yeah,
even if there's someone who's reading, sometimes they'll share, they'll write their own. And that's what it's all about. It's about encouraging each other, one person to another,
that's right.
spreading the love and spreading the positive vibes.
That's right. And you can always find Lloyd Barker on Instagram or
Yes.
Facebook or whatever to be inspired and encouraged every day. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Once again, Lloyd, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your story. I've appreciated watching you grow. And I'm just so very proud of you.
Thank you,
So, so
Catherine.
very proud of you. And congratulations to your mama and your papa and your step papa and all the people, all the village that helped put all that good stuff into you that's now able to see it all coming to fruition.
Absolutely.
And lots of luck and love to you on your continued journey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon for Straight Talk, your Thursday Success 101 show. This is kind of my Friday. This is the end of my week. Tomorrow is your Friday, so looking forward to you having a great weekend and taking care of yourselves. And just remember, just keep going for it and enjoy the journey. Take care. See you next week.